The film begins by showing us a man named Curtis, facing and watching clumps of black clouds soaking the earth with their rain. Curtis has a wife named Samantha and a little girl named Hannah who cannot speak. Curtis's daily life involves working on a construction project with his friend DeWart. When he gets home, Curtis feels very fortunate to have a child despite her limitations. Therefore, he always watches her while she sleeps. Then, Curtis dreams of a terrifying situation. He sees the sky angry and about to devastate the area. Even the dog can't stay still and breaks free, biting Curtis's hand. Fortunately, it's just a dream. However, the dream continues to haunt Curtis, even at work, where he feels the bite marks from his dog. Strange events increase when Curtis finds at the construction site a flock of birds flying and behaving unusually. Nightmares haunt Curtis again. He is in a car with his daughter amid a stormy rain. However, as he drives, he is shocked to see someone standing in front of him. Soon his car is surrounded by many people and destroyed, and Hannah, his daughter, is kidnapped. But once again, it's just a dream. Fearing his dreams that always haunt him, Curtis builds a dog kennel outside as a home for his dog. Previously, the dog always lived with him inside the house, but the trauma of being bitten by the dog in the dream doesn't allow the dog to stay inside. Then Curtis sees a door leading to the basement. After opening it, he finds the room has long been unused and contemplates what can be done with it. Curtis's fear increases when he sees news about a family affected by poisonous gas, causing their death. Curtis believes that the apocalypse is coming. Curtis dreams again, this time dreaming of his daughter being frightened by a man. After that, objects in his house start floating, causing Curtis to panic. The dream makes him wet the bed. Here, his wife begins to wonder and is confused by Curtis's unusual behavior. Unable to attend church, Curtis takes his daughter for a walk while he continues to search for information about what he is experiencing at the library to diagnose his condition. Curtis visits a doctor, but the doctor is not a psychiatrist and therefore cannot handle his case. The doctor gives him the phone number of a relative who is a psychiatrist, unfortunately too far to reach. For the time being, the doctor diagnosed that what Curtis is experiencing is inherited from his mother, who suffers from the same illness. The doctor gave him sedatives so that Curtis could sleep soundly. After taking the sedatives, Curtis felt fresher in the morning than usual, but the effect of the medication did not improve his condition. At work, he experienced hallucinations about lightning storms and became nauseous. On his way home, Curtis saw a used container for sale and thought about buying it to make an additional room in his basement. To realize his desire to create a living space in the basement, he needed a considerable amount of money. He tried to borrow money from the bank, and his request was granted. Afterward, Curtis asked his friend DeWart to help him dig up the soil in his backyard using the company's heavy machinery, even though he knew it was a violation of company property. DeWart agreed to help with his friend's strange request. Since Curtis could not go to a psychiatrist who was too far away, he eventually visited a general counselor for temporary treatment. Curtis shared that paranoid schizophrenia is hereditary from his mother. The next day, Curtis realized his plan to dig up the soil in his backyard with the company's heavy machinery, assisted by his friend DeWart. However, while digging, his wife Samantha came and was angry at what he had done. Even after being scolded and interrogated, Curtis remained unmoved and chose to keep silent from his wife. While sleeping, Curtis had convulsions and his mouth bled. Samantha, clearly panicked, called an ambulance, but Curtis refused to be taken to the hospital. After that, Curtis opened up to his wife and told her about the beginning of his dreams, dreaming of rain. But the rain was like oil rain, as well as dreaming of being bitten by a dog, until dreaming that his daughter was terrorized by someone else. And lastly, he dreamed of his friend DeWart hitting him with a shovel until he bled. At work, Curtis was still preoccupied with his dream that DeWart hit him with a shovel, so he chose to ask his boss to transfer DeWart and not work with him anymore. His request was granted. Curtis went back to looking for equipment to use in the basement, this time buying a gas mask, even though it was quite expensive. Curtis's dreams continued. This time he dreamed that his wife, drenched, looked at him with a blank stare, and behind her was a knife ready to be taken. The fear from that dream carried over into real life. Without reason, Curtis avoided Samantha's hand. Samantha was shocked, wondering why her husband suddenly acted like that. The fear broke when Curtis saw his boss outside, looking at the basement that Curtis had made. His boss came there based on information given by DeWart, his friend who had helped build the basement. DeWart, who was heartbroken because he had been transferred at Curtis's request, took revenge by leaking what Curtis had done to his boss. Seeing Curtis's actions, his boss gave him 2 more weeks, after which he was fired from the company. Hearing that her husband was fired, Samantha slapped him and took their child away. Seeing her husband's condition after being fired, Samantha returned home and approached Curtis. Curtis initially thought Samantha would leave him, but he was wrong. Samantha turned out to be the ideal wife and was willing to fight together, even willing to use her savings for a beach trip to support their family's life for the time being. Curtis and his family attended a dinner hosted by his wife's club. There, DeWart was also present, obviously holding a grudge against Curtis because of the job situation. While everyone was enjoying the meal, DeWart approached Curtis and asked why he came to that place. DeWart, already emotional, then fought with Curtis. Curtis managed to defeat DeWart, but because of the fight, Curtis became uncontrollable. He ranted at everyone in the room, warning them that a big tornado storm was coming soon and would devastate everyone there. One day after checking his car's battery, Curtis suddenly sees Hannah walking into the middle of the road. He rushes to get Hannah, but from there, he again sees a flock of birds behaving strangely, making Curtis even more frightened. In the midst of deep sleep, they hear a sound indicating that a big storm is coming. The 3 of them rush to the basement before the storm hits them. Once inside, Curtis gives oxygen tanks and gas masks to his daughter and wife so they can still breathe there. They wait for the storm to pass until they fall into a deep sleep. Curtis is awakened by Samantha and Hannah, but a deep fear prevents him from wanting to remove his mask, even though everything is actually fine. After being convinced, Curtis agrees to remove his mask. Samantha then asks Curtis to open the door because the storm has passed and nothing happened overnight. Curtis, already paranoid, still doesn't believe it, even after asking his daughter, who also says that nothing happened above. Finally, Curtis asks Samantha to open the door. She refuses because she believes that if she opens the door, it won't change anything. But if Curtis himself opens it, at least it will reduce the fear he is experiencing. And finally, Curtis bravely opens the door. And indeed, the storm that occurred last night did not destroy their environment and home. To treat his mental state, Curtis finally goes to the psychiatrist previously recommended by his doctor. The psychiatrist suggests that Curtis be treated in a mental hospital because he needs intensive care. Curtis decides, before being treated in a mental hospital, he wants to go on a beach vacation with his family, a plan they have long prepared for. Initially, their life at the beach goes normally, but suddenly Hannah sees something forming above the clouds. Indeed, a tornado begins to form and is ready to strike anything on land. We can conclude that what Curtis has been fearing all this time has become a reality, not just mere hallucinations. And the film ends. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, because by subscribing you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.